Science of Wellness. Today we're unpacking a topic that's rarely talked about, but it is deeply important: fertility preservation, egg freezing, and the future of reproductive freedom. My guest is Flavia de Prezzo, a fertility consultant and founder of Sopotion, a platform built to support women emotionally, logistically, and nutritionally through the egg freezing journey. Flavia's story is powerful. She froze her eggs at 35 while living abroad after more than a decade in the pharmaceutical industry. And even with all that experience, she was shocked by the isolation, the hormone swings, the lack of nutritional guidance, and the total absence of support. Now she's building what she wished she had: emotional guidance from therapists who get fertility, nutrition advice for each phase of the process, transparent cost planning, and help navigating cross border clinics. In this episode, we talk about what really happens physically and emotionally during egg freezing, why so many women feel unsupported, and what it takes to reclaim this process as something empowering. So, whether you're a woman quietly researching fertility options at 3 a.m., a friend trying to be more supportive, or just someone interested in how reproductive health is evolving, this conversation needs to be heard. Flavia, welcome to the Science of Wellness.
Thank you so much, Dr. for having me. And I want to say that actually this morning I forgot my keys inside my apartment and I have to go through my balcony neighbors. So, I made it. I'm very happy as well.
You see, I told you before the episode, the weirdest things happen as soon as you want to record a podcast.
Yeah,
But I'm so glad you're here and I am so excited for this episode.
me too.
So, Flavia, I start every episode by asking each guest, what does wellness mean to you personally? And how has your definition evolved over time?
Yeah, while before wellness was more a boxing check, like eat healthy, like salads, protein, and moving your body, hydrated well, so kind of very superficial level. Now, over time, the meaning of wellness for me change a lot. Is more about the courage to make a decision for my mind and also for my body. It's more about emotional resilience to look after myself and to prevent as well potential illness or potential disease that I could get in the next 50 years. So I guess yeah, my wellness meaning has become more sophisticated than it used to be in my early 20s.
I'm glad that you mentioned the emotional resilience because I think that is something that we keep on pushing to the side. And I definitely think we're going to touch a little bit on that with some of the questions that I have for you today. But I want to start with a bit more personal questions. And
Yeah.
especially with what led you to freeze your eggs and what surprised you the most about the journey.
Yeah, well, let me tell you a story. I was 33 at the time. I was living in the Netherlands, and I just broke up for a very long relationship. And I felt start to feeling very anxious about yeah, what is gonna happen next, because there was an expectation in my ex relationship to have kids, because I always want to be a mother. I always I could see myself, that's was the plan for me. And when I broke up, I felt completely lost. And while I was going through this anxiety, which you mentioned as well, sometimes you can't sleep at night. Thanks for with therapy, I figured out that anxiety was for my biological clock ticking. Every single day was getting so strong that I felt like, well, there is no option for me, no lot option. And the last option might be egg freezing. And then where the overwhelming journey starts, literally 2 years ago, calling hundreds hospitals across Europe with my experience and figure out what was the best clinic for me. And what really surprised me about the journey, how emotionally challenging but also very lonely journey it is. Unfortunately, if you don't have a good support system, you can really struggle a lot. And I couldn't find this emotional support, or to feel like even with the clinic, I had some support system. So was a huge gap that I saw straight away during the egg freezing journey I came across.
It's actually shocking to me that there's no support system for women in place. But you also said that women deserve better emotionally, logistically, and financially when navigating fertility. And I also agree with that. Now, what were the biggest gaps you saw? You already mentioned now the support system.
Yeah. As I said, it's literally an emotional heartbreak because obviously every woman is different and every woman could react in a different way. However, because you are injecting to yourself hormones, the swings are naturally. And the doctors in the clinics really underestimated the emotional part. They really talk about the medical procedure, the scan, the data report, but what about my mind? What are going through? And also logistically, because if you live in one country and you want to do in another country, even in Europe, as we know, is a small continent. However, this could be very challenging because the process starts the second, the first day. Therefore, if you're stressed, like I was, my period came early. Therefore, I had to change my flight. I have to change my booking of the apartment. So I have to change my first scan of the clinics. So logistically complex, and the clinics doesn't really help you or even give a piece of device how actually manage this part. Also financially, because you can start budgeting. However, if you have to do two cycle, the budget is not going to be the same because it's going to be double the price you're going to pay for the first cycle, and the clinics doesn't really tell you until you end your first cycle. Therefore, most women felt like shocked financially because they couldn't budget really well in case they could do it the second cycle. So the gaps emotionally, just logistically, financially is big, is huge. Yeah.
Okay, now that you mentioned with your cycle and everything, I really want to find out what is the real world egg freezing timeline. So what happens from day one, let's say when you start to walk into the clinic, when you start on the hormone therapy to the recovery phase? What happens?
Yeah, let's start to say the process can last between 10 and 12 days. Your first injection of hormone, FSG, which is a growth hormone, is gonna be on the second or the third day of the cycle. And is the literally the same day where you will go to the clinic and they will inject you the first hormone. And also they're gonna ask you to do the injection at least for 9 days. So you start on the second, the third, you go to the clinic, and for the next 9 days, you're gonna inject yourself with two different hormones, also the progesterone at the same time. And every 2 days, you go to the clinic, you will scan and check how actually the body is reacting to these artificial hormones. And obviously every woman react differently, but there is a huge mood swing, as you can imagine during the process. Anxiety kick in as well during the process, and the doctors on the ninth days is gonna check again the size of the eggs, because the eggs can be too big, it can be too small. They have to get the right size to yeah to get to retrieval. And on the 10th days, if the eggs get to the right size, literally the day after, which was for me happened the day after, you're gonna have your retrieval day, which is gonna be between 10 or 20 minutes with a complete anesthesia. But obviously this is depends of the protocol of the clinics as well, where they're gonna retrieve the eggs for you. And unfortunately, the clinics told you the recovery time is gonna be between 24 48 hours, and then you will feel completely fine and back to normal. But unfortunately, for me, it wasn't like that. The recovery time took 2 months to actually feel completely back to myself mentally and physically. And that also where, I couldn't see the right information the clinics gave to me after this egg freezing journey.
Yeah, I think they only refer to medically or physically you should be within 24, 48 hours close to normal. But I'm glad that you mentioned that some clinics do anesthesia. So I am extremely scared of needles. And I've been looking at this egg freezing journey a while. And the first thing that is bothering me is the needles and to inject myself. So I am extremely scared of that. And now that you said with the retrieval, it's with anesthesia, that helps. It puts me at ease a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna feel nothing, right? You're gonna sleep. I actually had an amazing dream that I remember as well. I was happy in a beach. Is completely what I'm looking for. I also, to be honest, I'm scared of the needles as well, but it's a pre-filled needle, so it's very easy to do by
Ah,
yourself. It's not a huge needles. So I think also this is yeah, something very important to mention as well, is that it's very, yeah, easy to do it by yourself. So even for women listen now, yeah, please, you can do it.
so I saw on LinkedIn, one of your posts said that you were 10 years too late. What do you wish every 27-year-old woman knew about fertility preservation?
I mean, unfortunately, the egg freezing, even in the UK, so the last statistics, is like average of women they do is in their 37, which starts to become very late. Preservation of fertility should be early on in life, where you are not panicking about your relationship. You're already starting a great career, so you can even budgeting better your egg freezing. Also, younger means that your body can react much better to artificial hormones. So the pressure of society and also the education really should start on the late 20s. Where with informed decision you can check your fertility status in based on your relationship, or based on your career, your dreams. With really time, you can make an informed decision. This is why I wrote truly. I felt like if I was 27, I totally, yeah, could. Check my fertility status, my relationship, and probably I will do it. Yeah, I wish I was 27, but I'm not anymore.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I also told you right before the episode that I always had in my mind that I would do egg freezing by 28. And that I said that since I started university. And then 28 just came and it went, and studies happened, and life just happened. And I'm past 28 now, but it's still something that's stuck in my mind. So hopefully, after this episode, I will have a bit more clarity and know what to
Yes,
do.
hopefully. Hopefully, yeah, I can convince you to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best.
Flavia, there's a lot of stigma and awkwardness around egg freezing. What do you think? Is it so hard for people to respond supportively? And how can we work to change that?
Yeah, unfortunately, egg freezing still a taboo. It's like prejudice the most people, also men as well, have about women, time, and choices. So people think that women can perfectly time nowadays career, love, babies. But unfortunately, we live in 2025 where human beings now live more average 8 years, and the women finally they can make their own decision. They can create amazing business. They can have an amazing careers. Therefore, their priorities, are changing during the time. So what we should do is start to talk openly about this topics. So this is why I think is kind of my mission: give to women, but also men, information they are missing because there is a society, a taboo. Yeah, women as this kind of expectation they have to make babies in the early years. But women they making their own dreams now, so it's very important to take control of your future and check your fertility status, and also inform your partner, your brother, your uncle, your father, because this conversation is not just about women, it's also about men, because future generation, always is about gender, and more people are informed or more open we can have this discussion, and even more accessible egg freezing can be. And this is, I truly believe in this mission, and I'm gonna stick with that until I'm gonna see a change in society.
That's amazing. And I'm completely with you on that. We should see it as an insurance policy for ourselves as well, but also the men should see it like that. Because even if, let's say, for example, they find someone, but the fertility status isn't amazing when we get to late 30s, beginning 40s, then at least we have that insurance policy, especially now that we're living longer as well.
Exactly. And also, it's not a guarantee as well. So earlier you do, better chance you get. But there is no guarantee 100%, of course, as well. So, women and men have to take in consideration of this part as well.
Mm. Yes. Now, you often support women doing this while managing demanding careers. What advice do you give for balancing the hormones? You speak about the hormone swings and the mood swings and high pressure jobs, and then also afterwards the healing. Because now you said that the clinic said 24 to 48 hours, but you took up to 2 months to heal.
Well, I want to give advice that I didn't give myself when I was doing the egg freezing journey. If you make a decision to do egg freezing, now can last between 10, like 12, 14 days. Please take time off from your demanding job. If you can't, ask for flexible hours or part time, because you don't know how much emotionally and physically really is gonna affect you. For even though I understand that the 12 days of holidays is a long time, in particular for people that have a corporate job, but this should be your first priority, because this is gonna make a huge difference for your life. So it's gonna be much more important than your job you're doing right now. So please, of some time. If you can't, ask for flexible hours. Me, I was trying to do everything work, because I also was doing freelances with the two companies. During client call, I felt very anxious. I had like a brain fog. I couldn't really think clearly. So, there was no even performance calls as well. So there is no point to do everything by yourself. So yeah, I think this is the best advice that I can give to women. I always say that please take some time off.
It makes complete sense because this is already a stressful time, even if it is 12 days, but just to have that time for yourself as well. Now, I want to go a bit more into the emotional and physical symptoms because you also mentioned now that sometimes the clinic they just look at the medical aspects. But what did you find? What are some of the unexpected emotional physical symptoms that clinics often don't prepare women for?
Yeah, I can. There are lots. I'm gonna list just three. So sleep disruption is so huge. I couldn't really sleep, even though they give you progesterone that sometimes makes more sleepy before going to sleep. But at least for me, even for other women, you are so stressed about the results of the egg freezing that you can't really sleep. And, if you don't sleep for 12 days, this is actually, you become even more emotional because your brain can't think. And clinics does really mention this at all. Sleep disruption for them is nothing, or they don't recognize. So I think is quite important. We know sleep is one first priority. Every human being should do so. Sleep disruption first. Second, gain. They say that you might you're gonna bloating, but then they're gonna say that maybe you can gain 7 kilograms or 10 kilograms like I did. So the weight gain is obviously, as I said, every woman react in different way, but the bloating is real, the gain of weight as well. So if you prepare yourself before, during, and after, with adjusting your diet, probably you're not gonna get my 7 kilograms because I couldn't prepare myself. I didn't know that actually this was a real deal. Also, the water retention. They don't really mention about this, but you could see your legs are, even your legs, they feel kind of bigger and kind of painful. With the right information, the right preparation, for me, this would have never happened. But unfortunately, the clinics never mentioned to me all that. So this is the free physically for sure. Let's say side effects the clinics never really prepared you for. Never mentioned to me at least.
And these three, how long did it take you to recover from that? Was that also part of the 2 months?
Yeah, let's say that the recovery time was overall 2 months. The sleep time, I think after 20 days, I could start to get the right amount of hours. But in terms
Right?
of
Yes.
weight, the weight part, obviously, might if you do it, you're 27, you still have amazing metabolism. But when you are in the middle of your 30, unfortunately, the metabolism getting slower. So for me, to be honest, it took 6 months to really get to my right shape. And for the water retention, to be honest, still have a little bit after 9 months. So this is the reality. Could be prevent? Yes, 100%. Even when I speak to the fertility nutritionist, you can do that through exercise and through the right nutrition. But yeah, unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have a Sopotion, so I done the egg freezing myself. So unfortunately, lots of this experience information I didn't have, and that's where I am now.
Well, I'm very glad that you are drawing awareness to this. And I think the stressful situation of you being alone in it without someone with you, I think that also made the symptoms even worse.
Worst. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think don't have the right supporting system in place is a big challenging because you need to have a list of, if I don't have a partner, because most of the people that do egg freezing is because they are single, right? So if you don't have a partner, you please find a friend, a close friend. You can really talk every day. You can really share how you feel. If you don't want to maybe share with the closest friends, there are most women that don't want to do. Please have a therapist that can really help you through this journey because the self doubt kicking a lot during the process. Even for me during the process, I was feeling like. I'm doing the right decision. It's really gonna make a huge difference if I had, professional therapist that was going through with me in this journey, probably she could, make everything easier, more clear, give me, the linear path, emotional support that I needed. And unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have this support. This is why I'm trying to create the support that I wish I had.
So I'm going to come back to Sopotion with the next question. But now that we're talking about the support and everything, I just want to talk to you about the survival kit that you are working on. What is in it and why does it matter beyond just creating comfort.
Yeah, so for a kid is actually because it's a very challenging journey, right? So you have to be prepared 100%. And in these 10 to 12 days, when I say prepared, it's like even a prepare meal. Have a prep meals that so you don't need to think about it, what you're gonna eat. Also, it's gonna be hopefully very nutritional foods because for your egg freezing is very important, but also meditation hub because meditation I think is so important during the egg freezing. As we mentioned, is very emotional, therefore do having a meditation help can really increase the relax, actually the success rate as well of your egg freezing. And also, the third one is about journaling. So, have a notebook where you write down your thoughts, your fears, why actually you even started, how you feel. It's gonna make a huge difference. So, I guess this is my free survival kit, which is between practical and very important to manage your mind, your own thoughts, because this is where everything started, right? From the mind, then the body reacts as well. So that's for me my survival kit that always suggest to women to use it in order to be prepared for the egg freezing.
I really like that you mentioned journaling because when you mentioned earlier that there was a time in your journey that you thought, why am I doing this? So I think it's great to do that journaling even beforehand, like right when you start researching everything, because then you can really put down in words, this is why I'm doing this, this is why I would like to do it. And then whenever you're in the journey and it gets tough, you can just refer back to that. I really, really like that.
Thank you.
So, Flavia, now I want to talk about Sopotion. Now, I love the name Sopotion.
Thank
Firstly,
you.
what does it mean? And then, what makes your business different from coaching or clinic based support?
Yeah, what does it mean comes from my days back to London, where even at the time I was feeling lonely. So, social potion is like, I want to say, is a movement where women are not going to be alone anymore. And with the right support, tools, and data, they can really go through every journey, in particular the egg freezing. Why Sopotion is different from other coaches and as well clinics. First of all, combines pharmaceutical experience with my life experience doing egg freezing myself. Most of the coaches unfortunately never done egg freezing, so their approach is really holistic, but without know exactly how you feeling during the process. And for the clinics are very keen on the medical procedures, scan data, but they really underestimated the body preparation, the mind preparation part, which Sopotion with the right therapist, a fertility nutritionist, with me that actually I was went through the egg freezing process can give the best support and tools for women.
Right. So, just while we're on this, how can people find you?
So people can find me on LinkedIn. I think at the moment, most of my focus is on LinkedIn. Also, my website. Yeah, if women want to even send me a DM or they want to clarify some questions, they can DM me on LinkedIn or can send me even an email. So info@chiocciolasopotion.com. I'm very happy to reply to everybody.
If there's someone listening and quietly considering egg freezing, but they are still feeling overwhelmed, they're still with the research phase, or they're still just thinking about it, what would you suggest is the first step that they should take today?
Yeah, the first step should be check your AMH, which is the hormone we're gonna tell you how many eggs have you left? So in this way, you can really know if you are under average or above average or you're just average. And with this information, you can really know where you stand in terms of fertility. So this is always recommend is the first fertility check. Nowadays, there are lots of companies that have a fertility test. However, if you can go and just do a blood test and asking for AMH, they will exactly give you the results. So this is the first step. And the second, if I can mention, please don't read your data by yourself or Googling. Go to your gynecologist because the data is more complex than number. You need, a scientific technical support that's gonna help you to interpret your numbers. It's very more complex than your AMH. So might you have a deficiency of vitamin D or B12? So therefore, this is the first step, but there are other steps that you need to go through before doing the egg freezing.
So just to finish off about the egg freezing, and then I have one more question left for you. So from your complete starting point, where you started researching, started looking at it, up until where you were completely healed, how long was that timeline?
I think the timeline was 7 months, to be honest.
Okay,
So, oh, yeah,
that's still quicker than I expected, but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great because now when someone listens to this and they think, no, but this process is going to take years for me to complete, and now you mentioned 7 months, so it's a lot quicker. And now after this podcast, it's a lot easier and more understandable as well.
Oh, I'm very happy about it. Yeah, I mean, if you do the preparations part, which is can be 3 months when you adjust to your lifestyle, and then literally 12 days, then you can give yourself an extra 2, 3 months. Obviously, depends how your body reacts. So it can be maximum of 7 months. So yeah. So it's still lots of time before end of the year to the women that listen now, please to take control of your future. Give as New Year resolution.
Yes,
As
as a
well.
Christmas present to yourself. That's
Yes.
amazing. Flavia, my last question for you, and I'm actually so sad this is the last question because I've enjoyed this conversation so much.
Okay.
But what is one book or tool or practice that has had a profound impact on your life recently?
I think there are two practices because I'm reading lots of my book. To be honest, I read are about millionaire mind, so it's not really the book for egg freezing, but it's more meditation app. So I really practicing meditation more often than I used to, and this is a really helped me a lot to get clarity on the journey. I mean, even sometimes when I'm questioning my journey, really feels like that with meditation, I get the clarity I need. So for sure, a practice for me is meditation and also journaling. I am now creating a journaling tool for women that go into egg freezing, where women can actually fill in the gaps during before the process, during the process, and after the process. So hopefully, with this tool, journaling will be much easier and become kind of personal diary for a very important phase of their life. So hopefully, yeah, this is gonna help lots of women as well.
And that brings us to the end of this heartfelt and unfiltered and incredibly important episode with Flavia de Prezzo. From breaking down medical timelines to unpacking the emotional weight that no one actually talks about, Flavia is really doing something that is rare. She's making egg freezing human again and taking the clinical aspect away from that. Flavia, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, well, I just want to say to all women, maybe they are in a stage where they have a mental block. They don't even know they have a mental block. There is this fear behind. the part that they are single, the part they feel like they don't know how the future is gonna look like. Just to these women, I want to say, first of all, you are not alone, and second, just please take in consideration to look after yourself, your health, and you can do now with egg freezing as well.
Thank you so much, Flavia. We need more voices like yours, and also now with building platforms like Sopotion that put women at the center of their own reproductive decisions without shame or confusion or overwhelm. Just a final reminder that you don't need to figure it out all at once. You just need to start with clarity. Definitely keep a lookout for Flavia's journal to help with the clarity. Then start with support and start with someone who's walked the path, like Flavia. If this episode resonated with you, or you know someone who's thinking about egg freezing, please share this episode, subscribe to the show, and help bring this conversation into the light. I'm also adding all Flavia's links to the description, so please be sure to follow her. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and stay well.